What does that word say? Anybody? It says idolatry. See? Idolatry. This is the value ship or the worship of the people by aboriginal native intrinsic unconditional instinct. Okay? That which provides security. And that's what we are prone to worship. First, before we worship, as it were, the God. So, cult in Greek is latria, in Hebrew, pulchan, and etc. And of course, these terms are in other languages too. For example, in Japanese, it's sadhu. See, the sadhu. It's called the cult. In Cantonese or Mandarin Chinese, it's called chongbai. Chongbai. But you see, you still have, based on the principles of the Jekultic Hova faith and the Sa-cultic Tannic faith, the good cult and the bad cult. Okay? It's very, very important that we come to some kind of negotiable understanding of the meaning of words and how they were used in certain times. Did you know how words were used in certain times does not always apply to words, the same word that is used in other times? Did you know that? Did you know that in the Roman Catholic faith they have what is called the cult of saints? Oh, you didn't know that, did you? The cult of saints. And all of these saints that have gone on, as it were, to heaven is called the cult of saints. Oh, we must learn how to not get into the heated, debated arguments over words because we do not know, or we did not take care to study to know the meanings of these words from their denotative etymological roots and their connotative extensions. Now I'm going to say something here in reference to the various denominations in the Bicultic religious systems, or the Bicultic leaf religious systems. Did you know, based on the principles, that there are only two cults? In the family verse. And what did I say those two cults were? Ah, so you remember, huh? Very good. The Jekultic Hova belief system and the Sa-cultic Tannic belief system. Now listen, when we refer, for example, to the Roman Catholic Bicult leaf, here is how you would call it. The Rocult man, or the Rocultic man, Cathopapalix. Papalix simply means papa, from the Pope. Cathopapalic or Cathopapalic. The Rocultic man, Cathopapalic. It's a cult. It does not mean that those that are worshiping, because cultus means to worship, it does not mean that those that are worshiping in the Rocultic man cathopopalic system, that everybody in there are unsalvageable. No. Remember on my last lecture, I said there are two classes in every religious congregation. You have the salvageables and the unsalvageables. That's everywhere. In the true religion and the false religion. So, this is how we would officially, or at least in my mind, call these various religious systems, and you must put the word cult in there somewhere. Because what does cultus mean again? It means to worship. Look in your dictionaries. Go to Powell's bookstore. Go to any library if you have any doubts in the matter. Okay, let me see if I can find another cult here. What about the Jecultic Jehovah's Witnesses? The Jecultic Jehovah's Witnesses. And in the Jecultic Jehovah's Witnesses B-cult leaf system, you have the salvageables and the unsalvageables. That's very, very important that we understand that. What about the occultic Episcopalians? The occultic Episcopalians. What does cult mean again, people? It means worship. In Greek you call it latria. In Hebrew, pulchan. Yes, there's another word in Hebrew for sect or party called cat. Like a cat. C-A-T, cat. That means a party or sect or cult. All right, then we have in the claudioscope of religions, you have the prescultic Betarians. The prescultic Betarians. The salvageable and the unsalvageable prescultic Betarians. Isn't that beautiful? When we can understand these words from a positive or an affirmative perspective, rather than seeing these words as always connotated to evil. Think about it, people. I think in one of my lectures in the past, I told the people that they should thank God for the entry of sin. That's right. You thank him. The scriptures thank God. Did you know the Bible praised God for the entry of sin? That's right. Why does the Bible itself, in its own words, speak very highly of God for permitting sin to enter into the universe? Answer, because God will not violate the will. In fact, he will not superimpose his will on the will of another. This is the essence of what we call love. Agapitos, Greek, agape, for love. God will not stop anybody from fulfilling the lust of the flesh, of the world. He will not. So you see, as sin enters into the world, and the mystery of godliness says that God, because of the entry of sin into the world, became sin. And out of sin comes the what? The gospel. See, we have to learn, people, to look at these so-called connotative, negative, contra sin dicta para evil doxical language and apply them to that which is possible, positive and affirmative. So, we go on. What about Judaism? What would you call it? Technicologically. You would call it Rab-Jubi culticism. Notice, Rab from Rabbi, Rab-Jew, Jew, capital J-E-W is for Jew. Rab-Jubi or Rab-Jubi culticism. That's what it is. Because they are also worshiping. If not worshiping God, they're worshiping their own concept of God. See? Where does worship take place? It takes place in the brain. That's where worship takes place. Now, if the brain is muddled, muddy, muddled, and the perception of the brain that sees to interpret what is God and life, it becomes a distorted brain. And a distorted brain perceives distortionally. That's right. Here is where the cult begins. In the brain. Okay? Where do you worship? Do you worship your brain in the name of God? And basically, that's what we're all doing. Worshiping our own perceptions of God, not God. This is the cult, people. Well, I'm going to just let you think about it, We don't want to necessarily make a big issue out of that. What about the Christian scientists? What would you call them technicologically? You would call them the Christian cultic scientists. This particular cult was started by Mary Eddy Baker. See? Christian cultic science. Nextly, we have, relative to Hinduism, Hind cultuism. Hind cultuism. Duism. Because the people are worshipping the God, or the perception, or the idea of the God. What about Buddhism? Buddhism would be called Buddh culticism. Buddh culticism. What about Islam? The same thing. Is cultlam, or is cultic lam. Because worship is the energetic stimuli in all the cult leaf systems. What about the New Agers? Simple. The New Cultic Agers. What about Protestants in general? Same thing. The pro-cultestants. That's what the Protestants are. What about Christianity? Simple. Christ-culticanity. Simple as that. Christ-culticanity or Christ-cultianity. Either one you want to use. What about the Orthodox faith, such as Greek Orthodox, Serbian Orthodox, and etc.? Simple. You would refer to them with respect as the Orthodox. The Orthodox. What about the atheist? Is he a part of a cult too? Of course he is. What would you call those that don't believe in the transcendental? Well, you would call them the occultic theist. The occultic theist. That's right. What about religions such as the Sikhs and the Tao religion and the Jainist religion of India? And you combine them with Hindus and Buddhists. Simply, you refer to them as the Sikh, Tao, cultic, Jaina, Hindu, Buddhist. What about human nature? Simple. Human cultic nature. And that is what it is in a nutshell. So why do we fear the word cult? And we disdainfully, fearfully fear the cult. And all of those governments in the world are cultic governments. You didn't know that, did you? That's right. And as I said from the beginning of the lecture, you call the religious belief systems the re-churchly, cultic, religious, be-cult leaf. And the only difference is, does Jecultic Hova endorse or accept the cult of his desire? Okay? So I guess I practically solved, or hopefully at least stimulated, the mind to inquire into the meaning of words. See, because if you don't know what words mean, people, and we go on in life being programmed by the grammatologists as to what words mean, then we are slaves par excellence. That's right. Did you know no slave mentality can enjoy the freedom of Jeparahovadice? God designed this world that we may find him. God wants the mind to know what is truth. God does not want the brain that he made in his own image and likeness to be clouded in the dark. God wants people of light, wisdom, knowledge, understanding. You think about it, people. Remember the next time when you get on your knees to pray. Remember, you are cultifying to God. You are praying and worshiping God. So it is very, very important that we study the etymological roots of words, which can help bring light along with the Parajona Christocletical instructor, because he goes where light is. That's right. God is a God of knowledge. He likes knowledge, true understanding, not in confused knowledge, ambiguated knowledge, and the like. So, we have, and as I said before, the word for cult in Hebrew is called pulchan. So the cult of Jehovah is called the Jepulchan Hova, relative to the Sapulchan Tana. Okay? Very good. Shall I go on and name some more of the denominations which are cultic, along with the rest of the bee coat list, the bee coat leaf systems? Of course. Let's go, for example, to the apostolic church, that is the church of the Apostle Paul. When the church first began in the AD 30s or thereabout, you would call that the apocultic apostolic church. See? The apocultic apostolic church of the apostles. For example, Methodist church would be called the Methodist. The Methodist. The Anglican church could be called the Angliculticans. Latter-day Saints can be technicologically called the Latter Cult Day Saints. Scientologists, you may be called the Scientcultologist or Scientcultology. The Assemblies of God, the Assembly Cult of God, that's what it would be technicologically. And those that are involved in metaphysics, your bee cult leaf system would be the metacultic physics. And the evangelicals, you would be called the occultic evangelicals. Pentecostals, Pentecultic Costals. Nazarenes, you would be called the Narcotic Zarinians. Seventh-day Baptists, you simply would be called the Seventh-day Baptcultists. And Seventh-day Adventist would be called the Seventh-day Adcultic Adventist. And those that are in the interdenominational belief system of things, you would be called the intercultic denominationals. And sometimes people feel that they are non-denominational, but there is no such thing as non-denominational, because non-denominational is a denomination. So you would call the so-called non-denominationalists the non-decultic nominationals. And of course, the Baptists, you would be called the cultists. So it's very important. Nothing wrong with being labeled as a cult, as long as you understand what the term means. What did I say the term meant from the beginning of the discourse? Shall we go back? Can I reiterate this thing back for you again? So you can identify with this? Maybe you can't relate to this. How did we start out with the definition of the cult? Cult, from Latin. Cultus, to take care of. That's what cult means, people. To take care of, from its etymological roots. From whence we get the word cultivation. And let me tell you, all of the food that we eat, that is placed on our tables, came from the services of what? The agriculturalist, the farmer. When you pray over your food, your meals, you are cultifying the God for providing for the people, the agriculturalist. Notice, agriculturalist. You don't put a bad connotation on the agriculturalist, do you? What if I were to ask you, what culture cultivated you? See, culture, cultivation. See, we're all cultivable people. Every last one of us. And as I said before, that colere would be the verbal root to till, like a farmer. Okay? And this term cultus in Latin, and latria in Greek, and pulchan in Hebrew represents a system of all rephilo ceremony, metamytho, physical-ligiosophical belief systems. So I hope that you can get some kind of comprehension on these terms which I have reiterated for you today. It is so very important that we understand this, because if we don't, we're going to be fighting each other over a word and what a dictionary says that it means or not mean, when we should actually understand the principle of the word as to what it is trying to attempt to explain, or what the term meant in a certain given time in grammatological history. See, this is called edugodlication. This is true edugodlication, people. You go straight to God as the bibliotheca, God's archives, and He will teach you the nature of the meaning of the symperiphorical behavior of grammar and of words, and what they mean and what they can be rechanged to mean. So it is very, very important that we understand this. So, are there any questions in the audience regarding the meaning of the term cult, latria, pulchan, which can be translated for good or evil? No questions, huh? Well, that's okay. Next week, I think what we'll be going into is the meaning of the term Advent. We want to study that, see what that means. We want to see, does that apply to every B-cult leaf system also? Well, look like the clock on the wall is telling me that my time is virtually over. So I hope that you enjoyed the lecture today. But don't forget to tune in next time to the golden option. Why? Because the golden option is yours. But also remember, don't curse the darkness. Light a candle. Until next time, shalom, shalom, shalom. Salam, salam, salam. May peace and serenity rest, rule, and abide upon us all. Welcome, greetings, and salutation to the golden option. Shalom, shalom, shalom. Salam, salam, salam. May peace and serenity rest, rule, and abide upon us all. Are you enjoying the valueship of going into the technical-logical aspects of the things of God, prophecy, and the like? Very, very good. Did you enjoy the last articulatorial lecture regarding the salvageables in all religious belief systems, in contrast to the unsalvageables in all of the religious belief systems of the world? Very, very good. Last week, I think we spoke about the concept of the cults, in how that every religious belief system